All right, family. I think I am recording now. Yeah, it says I'm recording up there, so good. All right, so I'm doing something a little new. Normally, I have these one-on-one sessions with y'all, and I will still continue to have those. But I am doing what I am calling a rapid response video, and I'll do multiple of these. I'm going to start out with this initial rapid response video uh, where I'm going to go over a little bit about financial stuff, show you a couple of videos that are essential to your learning journey. And then also, I'll be covering the tokens that we're in their own separate rapid response videos so that you can just go to each one of these videos and just kind of look and learn what you need to learn about each one of our projects. So this first one, we're going to just start out. Let me go ahead and share my screen with you. And like I said, I'm doing this off the cuff, so it's going to be a little bit disorganized than, maybe the first video, possibly even the second video. But I'm doing it off the cuff, and so I just want to make sure that I cover as much material as possible just to get you guys up to speed if you are brand new. If somebody is showing you this brand new, and you're not in my group, Generational Wealth Crew, they really, really, really want you to know what's going on because the world hides it from you. So what you are looking at right now, you can pull up your own self on the internet. It's called the Debt Clock. It's the usdebtclock.org. Okay. And it's a very decent tool to use to educate yourself on what is going on financially around you that you might not be paying attention to, but things that are affecting your lives tremendously. All right. And you're going to hear me use some terms in this rapid response video. And so if you don't have the files that I uh, downloaded into the group, then I will go ahead and re-download those into the group again so that they're up in a more recent post. And they'll have definitions to some of the terminology that you may hear that you may not be familiar with. That is not an all-encompassing definition PDF. For instance, I'm going to be talking about wage slavery and debt slavery. And those terms are not in the documents that I created for you guys for definitions, but they're self-explanatory. Wage slaves, unless you are independently wealthy already and you have passive income that you can survive off of without the assistance of anyone else when your money is making money while you're asleep, then you are most likely a wage slave. If you're 100% dependent on the government, then you are most likely a wage slave. You have a little bit more freedom, but depending on how much the government is supporting you, that's not really considered too much freedom, especially if it's welfare benefits or anything like that. So you're stuck in that endless cycle of wage slavery. Debt slavery is something that even the elite and the rich are fearful of. And that's why they are making the moves that they're making. The elite and the extremely powerful and rich is because they don't want to be attached to the debt slavery. And so debt slavery is what you're looking at right now. You see our U.S. national debt over here. If you see my cursor moving around on the screen, I'm moving it erratically so you can focus over to the top left-hand corner of the screen. You'll see that our current U.S. national debt is at $37 trillion. Now, when you hover over any of these things, this area up here that says U.S. debt clock that I'm erratically moving over right now, that changes to give you a definition. So I'm just going to go right below it so you can see. So I hovered over revenue per citizen, and it is describing Federal Reserve revenue per citizen. U.S. federal tax revenue per citizen consists of the income tax, payroll tax, corporate tax, duties, and excise taxes divided by the total number of U.S. citizens. So it gives you a good definition of anything that you are hovering over. So right now, we're hovering over the U.S. national debt over here on the left side of the screen. This is $37.2 trillion right now. I remember last year when it was $36 trillion. It's gone up by a trillion already. Now, experts say that it will take 150 years of concentrated effort. That means no political infighting or anything. 150 years to pay this off. that means whoever is listening to this at this moment, you're responsible for this debt. Your kids are responsible for it. Their unborn kids are responsible for it. And their kids are most likely going to be responsible for this debt. It is not getting paid off anytime soon. That's what makes you a perpetual debt slave, meaning your taxes are going to always be there, always the craw in your ass for where the government is coming after you with their IRS or whatever other agencies to get their portion of your income to pay down this debt. Now, what the elite have done is they've created a whole brand new financial system right underneath your nose. Now, that financial system right underneath your nose uh, changes every 80 to 100 years. And it usually changes behind something traumatic that's happening in the world that allows them to change it without you recognizing or noticing that it's going on. Last time it changed was at the end of World War II when they had the Bretton Woods Agreement. And they changed from the gold standard when Henry Kissinger sent, I'm sorry, when Nixon sent Henry Kissinger over to the Middle East to form this deal with the OPEC nations, and they created what is called the petrodollar, Petro, petro as in oil. And so basically, in layman's term, the agreement was you buy, uh, you conduct all of your oil transactions in US dollar, and we will provide you protection and weapons and stuff like that over here in the Middle East, where it's all violent and all kind of stuff is going on. So that deal has been in existence since then. That deal is pretty much almost dead now because the US has been weaponizing the US dollar because we became the world superpower behind it, not because we had all the best weapons, because other countries have the same weapons that we have, and there's mad, mutually assured destruction. We can all destroy each other. But we became the economic powerhouse in the world. Our gross domestic product is the largest gross domestic product of any country in the world, which is why Trump right now is able to leverage that power against the entire world to get his way and get things done so that we can put America back in charge and America first again. So 80 years from the end of World War II, anybody doing the math, you know that that is this year and next year, 80 to 100 years. So it's supposed to change cyclically like that because it has all the time. And what has been happening underneath your nose is the United States has been fighting that happening tooth and nail. They want to still maintain that power, that economic power. And it's hard to do with the new financial system, but they're getting close. All right. Now, for those of you who don't believe what I'm saying or don't think this is a big deal or don't think it affects you, trust me, it's going to affect you. That's why we're in this rapid response video right now. This debt, the way that the economy, the world economy is changing and moving right now, is going to change your lives forever. And it was all planned. Nothing is happening by accident. Trump was not elected by accident. He was put in place by the elite, the global elite. Cases that happened here in the United States with some of the cryptocurrencies that are moving forward, that are not scams, that are moving forward as part of this new financial system. They were put through the legal system because Congress would not get off of their ass and pass the laws. So they got legal clarity for crypto, which started opening the floodgates for banks and corporate institutions to participate in the crypto industry when they were not able to before because there were not regulations. Once that case went through, once they got their elected pawn into office to get the laws in place that they needed, the global elite have a highway to freedom now away from this type of debt that is happening globally, not just here in the United States. Everybody is going broke. So what's going to happen is all of you wage slaves and debt slaves, if you got to go to work tomorrow, if you got to go to work in a couple of days, if you got to go sign in and clock in and account to somebody else, or if you got a business where you're relying on customers for survival, and you got to make sure that that's running straight, you are a wage slave. Even though there are some wage slaves doing a lot better than other ones, there's nurses that are doing extremely well as wage slaves. They're managing it, but let them have a back injury. Let them have something happen. Let their house get torn down by a hurricane or through some traumatic event that happens, and see if they can maintain that status. The likelihood is not. So we are all most likely wage slaves and debt slaves. So we're going to go through a couple of little things just to kind of prove those points, because I want you to feel that. I want you to know inertly inside of yourself that this is the position that they put you in. It's the position that they want you in. It's the position that they can control you the easiest when you are a wage slave or a debt slave. We are only pulling in $5 trillion. Watch the mouse over here. Erratic movement. This is U.S. federal tax revenue. $5 trillion is all we're bringing in yearly, and our debt is 37 trillion. We will never catch up. But what will happen is the elite will have you continue paying this debt down, and they'll make money off of it. They'll make money because they are tokenizing that debt. And that's a term that's not in that thing, but tokenization is the future. If you've heard of the term BlackRock, you know that company. They're the largest asset manager in the world. In fact, the CEO of BlackRock's name is Larry Fink. He just got moved over to the World Economic Forum as a co-CEO of the World Economic Forum. That is power meeting power. The people are positioning themselves for the moves that they are making right now. Larry Fink is now in charge of the World Economic Forum, and he is one of the largest asset managers in the world. And when BlackRock moves, entire markets move. So Larry Fink said, and I'm going to let you hear it from his own mouth. Larry Fink said that tokenization is the future. So let's just pull that up real quick. We're going to go into the group here, and I'm going to talk us through it because this might be a little bit slower than what I really want to do. But I'm just going to go in the group, and you guys can do the same thing. If you're on a laptop or a computer, you can go into the group Generational Wealth Crew, type search or click search, and then in the search field, just type in whatever you're looking for. Larry Fink is what we're going to put in here right now, because I've talked about him for a very long time in this group. There we go. So these are all the instances where I've brought up Larry Fink's name. And we're just going to pull up one of his videos here where he's talking about what the future is going to be. Here we go. So the first video that you're going to see is this one right here with Larry Fink.
I actually believe.
And this video is from over 2 years ago. So they already knew where it was all going. So here we go one more time. Let's start from the beginning.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now.
Okay, let's just dissect that there for just a second. He just said the entire bond market is being transformed as we speak. Now, what is a bond? I'm just going to give y'all a second to think about that while I'm pulling something up here. What is a bond? A bond is basically just debt. And there's different types of debt. There is corporate debt. When corporations have debt, they can issue bonds on that, and people can invest in the corporations and buy the bonds of the corporations. There is government treasuries, which are government debt. And I know you've heard of treasury bonds. Well, that's just basically you buying the government's debt. If you've ever had a purchase, automobile purchase or some other types of purchases from some furniture companies and stuff, You start out getting financed by maybe the company, but then at some point you might get a letter in the mail where they are selling your debt to somebody else. That's an investor. That person is buying your debt and they become the holder of that debt. And then they start sending you notices to pay them. So, because they're making money off of your debt, they purchased that debt from the original debt holder, and they're making money. So there's this government bonds, which is government treasuries, which are $37 trillion of debt sits in there, and you see here that's worth $57 trillion. The government bond market, corporate bonds are worth 116 trillion. And in the commodities market, which is like fruits and vegetables and all kind of other commodities, worth over 300 trillion. And then the derivatives market, 1 quadrillion. Base money, 28 trillion. So the entire cryptocurrency market as a whole is only $4 trillion right now, y'all. Right at around $4 trillion. All of this debt is about to start flowing through the cryptocurrency market when it could not legally do it before because the regulations were not there. Well, the global elite put Trump into office and they got the laws that they wanted. They got the Genius Act, and they're about to get the Clarity Act so that the banks can have a 1,000% green light to move forward. And that happens once they come off of their recess. They are on summer recess right now, and Congress comes back, and then they start moving the Clarity Act through its procedures. It's in the Senate right now, so it has to. They're going to make whatever changes they make. Then it may bounce back to the House for a minute, where they clarify if they like those changes, and it'll go back and forth, and then they'll have a law that gets to President Trump's desk, and he will sign it, and then the banks can move in this industry that they have been salivating to get into. The cryptocurrency industry has created millionaires and multimillionaires for years without banks being involved. When banks get involved, they take over this market. They move trillions and quadrillions of dollars of money into this market. And when they move money around, they're not going to want the price to be volatile. So they are going to price you out. You won't be able to participate and create generational wealth. You may be able to invest a few dollars in one of your Robinhood apps or something like that and make a little bit of money. But you won't be able to ever create generational wealth because this is a generational opportunity that is happening right now. So I'm just showing you this upside down triangle to show you that all of this money has been sitting on the sidelines. Everything that you see here, government bonds, and they will tokenize that. And you'll hear Larry Fink finish saying that because I'm going to go back to that video. He's going to tell you, we're going to tokenize all of that debt and they're going to make money off of it. They're going to earn a yield. They're going to earn passive income on something that you and your kids and your kids' kids and their kids are going to have to pay forever, while they, or us, because we have the tokens, the rails to this new financial system that we're not supposed to have, that we got blessed to find out what they were doing right under our noses, and we invested early, and we got in, and we're making money, and we're going to make that same passive income as the elite, the global elite, and all of them make. So let's get back to Larry Fink and what he's saying. Let me close this out, but I just wanted to show you, you can search for anything in this group. So let's finish hearing him out. I'm gonna just rewind just a hair.
The market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities.
Tokenization of securities. You just heard it over 2 years ago. We going back into the past, y'all. You just heard it over 2 years ago that the CEO of the largest asset manager in the world, BlackRock, who is now a co-CEO of the World Economic Forum as of this year, told you. So expect that shit to be moving pretty fast soon, now that he's in charge over there at the World Economic Forum, as well as the largest asset manager in the world. They are moving towards tokenization. He said that they are actively investing, all of his clients, all of his elite people, the big people that have money, the accredited investors, a status that you will likely never see unless you are participating as an elite. and you have these tokens and you become a millionaire. You won't get accredited investor status because it's an extremely difficult thing to achieve for the average person. We are no longer average as we are while you're in this group and you're holding these assets that I have directed you to. We are the new 1%. So we will be able to participate in these things. So let me rewind that a little bit so you can hear it again. What you are missing out on if you are still sitting on the sidelines, you're going to continue to remain a wage slave and a debt slave while everybody else in this group who has invested and the other elites in the world who already know what's going on, they're going to be moving forward with this new financial system. It's called the global quantum financial system.
It's being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
So he just said instantaneous settlement, and it changes the entire ecosystem. We're going to talk about that instantaneous settlement because not every cryptocurrency is created equally, but ours are superior because they do exactly that, instantaneous settlement. So let's get off of Larry Fink. I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. And now we're going to go back to what you should know, but they don't want you to know. And that's this video here that is talking about something called the Great Reset. Now, if you've never heard of the Great Reset, it's an actual thing. The same elites, the World Economic Forum used to be headed, prior to Larry Fink getting it this year, the guy who was in control prior to him founded the organization of the World Economic Forum. His name was Klaus Schwab. So you can Google his name on your own. I'm trying to keep this video as succinct as possible because this is like just 2 years worth of information I'm trying to get to you in as concise a format as I can possibly give it to you so that you'll have an understanding. Klaus Schwab created the World Economic Forum, and they pretty much drive economic policy around the world. Let that sink in. Because the driver of economic policy now is an American named Larry Fink. Some people think he's evil and that BlackRock is evil. I don't subscribe to that. They are just capitalists, and they are going to work and do the best they can for their clients. All right. So anyway, let's get back to why this video about the Great Reset. And I have this queued up here. Let's see, where do I have the Great Reset video at? So we already did the debt clock. I'm going to close that one. Oh, I know where it's at. It's in my wife's profile. I sent it to her over here, I believe, so that I can get back to them easy. So let's just scroll on up. To the Great Reset. I hope y'all having a good day today, because as of right now, if you're viewing this video, your life is starting to change and you don't even know it. Y'all know some stuff now that the majority of the world just is not hip to. Okay, that's not it there. Let me just look here real quick. There it is. Okay, I had it queued up already, ready to go. All right, so the Great Reset. This is a 5-minute and 30-minute video. So if you got to go take a bathroom break or you got to go get you something to drink, go get it now, because I'm keeping on moving. You just pause it on your end. Here we go. I got to pause
Deception.
that. Okay, let's start
Replacing
that.
mum and reset, it's a great deception. Replacing mum and dad, small businesses and private enterprises with big tech and big business. Democracy and free enterprise go out the window, totalitarian government control slides in through the back door. Those behind this scheme are adamant that there can be and never will be a return to normal, that life will never again be what it was prior to COVID. That is why they constantly talk about the new normal. The World Economic Forum meets every January in Davos. You will have heard of the expression Davos man. It refers to all the zillionaires and pop stars and popes and princes and politicians who meet every year to map out our futures. This year's Davos is very, very different to all the previous ones. The World Economic Forum, along with the United Nations, along with the International Monetary Fund, and along with any number of prominent globalist organizations and powerful individuals, including Prince Charles, together have jointly promised that the 2021 World Economic Forum will be used to introduce, via a vast network of connected big tech corporations, online activist movements, and compliant local and national governments, something they call the Great Reset. This isn't some Sky After Dark fantasy conspiracy theory. It is a global commitment they have made to use the panic and fear generated by the coronavirus as a means to reshape all our economies and laws and move to a new form of capitalism that focuses on net zero emissions. You might think this is a great thing. You might think this is a terrible thing. If implemented successfully, the Great Reset will undeniably and deliberately have extreme and possibly dire repercussions for every single one of your constituents. Already, the Great Reset is being widely advertised on posters and in ads across the UK and Europe, and no doubt will be here before too long. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy is just one of their marketing slogans. The plan.
Did you hear what he just said? You will own nothing and be happy. This is what the globalist elite have planned for you and I. Owning nothing and being happy. If you bought a house, if you purchased a house, do you really think you own it right now? Even if it's paid off? Because guess what? You have property taxes. Stop paying your property tax bill and see what happens. They come take your shit. You may live where there is a homeowners association. Stop doing everything they tell you to do and see what happens. They will put a lien on your house and you won't own that house anymore. So you will own nothing and be happy. What about your homeowner's insurance? I'm pretty sure that you've experienced those rates going up recently too. And when you get priced out of that, it adds to your costs and makes home ownership almost unbearable at this point. And guess who's sitting there buying up most of the real estate? Corporations. You don't have many mom and pop homeowners that are renting too much anymore. You have corporations, and they don't mind making you homeless if you ain't paying, and the rent's always going to keep going up. No chill, no stop, no slow down if you're renting. So their goal is for you to own nothing and be happy. And they've been preparing you for that for years. You might have seen one of the things that they've done, and we'll touch on that in a minute, when they gave everybody a stimulus check. How many of y'all got a stimulus check? Because if you got a stimulus check, then you're already been primed for what's next, which is UBI, Universal Basic Income. And just like I showed you in that search thing, if you type UBI in that search, you'll see that I've been talking about it for over 2 years. They've been trialing it and testing it because they know that you're either going to be broke or that you're going to lose your jobs during this fourth and fifth industrial revolution, which is on us right now. Most people don't even realize it's happening. The fourth and fifth industrial revolution is something that changes historically, and it usually moves society forward. And right now, those are identified as the blockchain revolution and the AI revolution, both happening at the same time, which is going to result in a lot of jobs lost because people are not ready to change from what they're doing and move with the way that the world is moving. because you don't really believe it's happening to you. You think your job is safe. You're a nurse. You think your job is safe. And they got robots trying to do nurses' jobs right now. Robots drawing blood. All you have to do is anything I'm telling you, you can vet for yourself, Google it or YouTube it. No job is safe. I remember when I was a travel nurse in California, probably about 10 years ago, maybe a little more than 10 years ago. Uh, they were first introducing robots in the ICU out there. Robot docs the little robot would roll around the hospital and come into the room. A human was on the other side of the screen, but they would interview the patient, take notes or whatever, and then tell the nurses what to do. And that was way back then. Just imagine how much further the technology has gone now. So you will own nothing and be happy. And we'll talk about how they plan on making you happy a little bit more soon here with 15-minute cities and carbon credits and stuff. Just write those down in your notes.
Plan involves replacing shareholders of big companies with stakeholders who happen to be left-wing bureaucrats and climate change zealots. Replacing mum and dad small businesses and private enterprises with big tech and big business. Mrs. Kafut's share portfolio is out. Greta Thunberg's zero emissions are in. Democracy and free enterprise go out the window. Totalitarian government control slides in through the back door. But remember, it's not only a great reset, it's a great deception. Because in order to get everyday people to surrender many of the rights and freedoms we currently take for granted, the repeatedly stated aim of these organizations is to deliberately use COVID as an excuse, to use all the political and authoritarian tools, as Prince Charles puts it, that are currently being used around the world to eradicate the virus, such as lockdowns, exclusion zones, forced closure of businesses, heavy fines, making protesting illegal, and so on, but now to eradicate carbon emissions. Those behind this scheme are adamant that there can be and never will be a return to normal, that life will never again be what it was prior to COVID. That is why they constantly talk about the new normal. This is not me saying this. This is them saying it. The people with the power and the means and the obsessional desire to do it. And they keep telling us again and again precisely what they have in store.
Now is the historical moment, the time, not only to fight the real virus, but to shape the system.
We have a unique but rapidly shrinking window of opportunity to learn lessons and reset ourselves on a more sustainable path. It is an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again. So we must use all the levers we have at our disposal, knowing that each and every one of us has a vital role to play.
The Great Reset is a welcome recognition that this human tragedy must be a wake-up call. It is imperative that we reimagine, rebuild, redesign, reinvigorate and rebalance our world. Rebalancing investment, harnessing science and technology, and advancing the transition to net zero emissions, all elements of the Great Reset, are fundamental to building the future we need.
And if it's still not clear, the book written by World Economic Forum boss Klaus Schwab himself, setting out precisely how the most powerful forces in the world are lining up to use the COVID-19 crisis as a pretext for introducing a new climate change-focused one world economy that will strip away property rights and basic democratic rights. They are not hiding this stuff, they are shouting it from the rooftops. The World Economic Forum boasts on its website that the only acceptable response to the COVID crisis is to pursue a great reset of our economies, our politics, and our societies.
So this is a real thing, y'all. This is not some conspiracy theory. They have planned it. In all likelihood, they probably planned the COVID virus as well. They probably unleashed that virus so that they could have the excuse to take your rights and your freedoms away from you as they do the Great Reset. And you see how easy it was for them to do it? How many of y'all, when they first said COVID was here, and they said, stay in your house, don't go nowhere, and if you do go somewhere, you got to wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart. It's the most insane shit ever. as if that 6 feet was going to protect you. But they exercise 100% control over all our asses because they put the things in place to make that happen. The other thing that they're going to do is already being done is limit the scope of you using any money for any type of freedom. Now, you don't think that can happen? It's already happening. So I'm going to introduce you to somebody else in here. And her name is Christine Lagarde. See if I can pull it up. I always have a problem trying to pull this up. How do I spell Lagarde? I think I need to just type Christine. I think that's how I found it. I always spell her name wrong. Oh, no wonder I'm not finding them on my wife's profile. Hold on a minute. I got to go into the group. Let's see if I spell Lagarde first. See what pops up. There we go. Lots of stuff popped up. All right. So I want to show y'all this lady. She is probably the second most powerful woman in the world right now. Her name is Christine Lagarde. She is in charge of the European Central Bank. All right. Now, she made a statement, and this was over a year ago, almost 2 years ago, that I posted in the group. She said that banks are going to get cannibalized if they don't move to this new financial system. These are the power brokers of the world saying everything is going to change. And it did change. July 14th here in the United States. We'll talk about that later. They changed. We are already in the beginning stages of the new global quantum financial system. It changed right underneath your nose. And we'll get on that in just a second. The change that happened. But first, I just want to show you how they are going to stop you from using your own money. Because in the UK, they're already doing it. And if you notice here in the United States, they do it to a certain extent, but it will get stricter as they put these digital currencies in place. Because think about it, how many of you really still use cash? Not many of us do. You usually have a debt that you got to pay to somebody like your electric company, and you log into a site and you see, oh, I owe X amount of dollars. So then you log into another site, which is your bank, and you tell your bank, hey, deduct my account by X amount of dollars and give it to the electric company to cover this debt. Most of us don't go drive down to the electric company and pay that bill. Most of us don't go drive down to the gas company and pay that bill. Most of us don't go drive down to the water company and pay that bill. We're doing it with digital transactions. So here is the first falsity that you want to get out of your head, that cryptocurrency is somehow fake, that it's fake money. Now, typically what I would do, and I'm going to stop my screen share real quick. Typically what I would do is I would take some money. I got some money right here, all right? I would take some money and I would take a bill out and I'd tear it up. I'm going to show you how I did that. And I would tell you, this is all fake money because it's only backed. It's not backed by gold anymore. It is only backed by the full faith and promise of the United States government. So I'm gonna play that little clip for y'all so you can see how I used to do it. And it's in the previous class. So I want you, if you watch that class, you'll see it, the full thing. But I would tear that up and tell you, but I want to use this money for something right now. I got some plans for that. So I'm not going to tear up no bills right now because I've got some stuff I want to do. But in the meantime, that's what I would do is I would tear that up and I would give you that whole explanation about going out and paying your bills and stuff. I even invoked my mother-in-law's name and told you guys that yeah, she used to send people drive down and go pay bills, and now I set her up on auto pay so she don't have to, do that, and people can use their time, their free time for other stuff. So, but that's what I would do. That's why I brought myself back on camera just to show you that this is all just fake money. This is all fake money. It's all fake. It's no different than cryptocurrency. When you're doing digital transactions, paying your bills, using PayPal or whatever those other systems are, you are just conducting digital transactions, debiting one account, crediting another account, whether it's yours or whether it's a person that you owe the money to. It's all done electronically. That's the same thing that crypto does. It completes everything digitally on an immutable, meaning it cannot be changed, blockchain. That's why it's a new revolution of finance. Because now, because of the way the system has developed and that the way that they created it, they can do all of these transactions online. They can do them safely and they can do them fast and instantaneous now. Told you I would bring that back up. It's a new part of the new standard, the ISO 20022 standard. Okay. But before we get into that, let's just listen to why you're not going to be able to use this too much more. You're not going to be able to use this money too much more. Yeah, there you go. You're not going to be able to use this money too much longer. And the reason why is Christine Lagarde is telling you why. Because they don't have as much control over you when you can actually use your money the way you want to use it. So this is what she said. And this was over a year ago as well.
Lagarde explaining it.
No, the problem is they don't want to be controlled. They don't want to.
Yeah, but you know what? Now we have in Europe this threshold above 1,000 euros, you cannot pay cash. If you do, you are on the gray market. You take your risk. You get caught, you are fined, or you go in jail.
So did you hear what Christine Lagarde just said? They have a threshold of 1,000 euros, which is a little over $1,000 here in the United States. And you can't pay that in cash. Basically, she's saying we can't track your ass, so you got to use digital payments. And if you don't, you are in a gray area, which is going to be a black and white area because they're passing laws for that. And telling you you're going to be heavily fined for using cash, or you can even go to jail for using cash. Don't think that it can't happen because they're putting people in jail in the UK for social media posts. So it's another way for them to exercise total and complete control over you and I. All right, or you and me. I wasn't an English major. I was a nursing major. So, so that's who Christine Lagarde is. All right. She's in charge of the European Central Bank. She was over at the World Economic Forum at once, and I believe the International Monetary Fund. And now she's in power here. Okay. At the European Central Bank. And she's telling you that. Now, the other part to their control is going to be, and this is how they maintain you as a wage slave and a debt slave and control you. And after you lose your jobs and stuff, I told you, all you have to do is come in here and type it in, UBI. That stands for Universal Basic Income. You type that in there in the search within the group, and you'll see that I have been talking about it for 2 years now. First mention was way back here. Let's see, what did I say? Universal basic income. So I was just identifying that they're trialing this universal basic income, and they've been doing it for several years. And the biggest trial was the stimulus check, and everybody jumped for it and wanted it and thanked everybody for it. And it's a way to control you, especially when you don't have nothing. When they hurt you enough where your jobs are gone and stuff like that, people are laid off, they're going to try the universal basic income. Even here, alarm over talks to implant UK employees with microchips so you can get paid. These articles exist, y'all. This stuff is out here. It's not nothing new. Some will think nothing of getting the new jab because this one will give you free money called universal basic income. And so I posted every article that I could find over the years about universal basic income, where they were trialing it at, how they were trialing it here. in the United States how giving $750 a month to LA's homeless proved basic income works. See, they're making the use cases for the future, which is now. Y'all see me post that in this group all the time. The future is now. Well, this future is now too. They've been trialing universal basic income. So here's another. Let's just go through and look at each, a bunch of these instances. Young parents in Baltimore are getting $1,000 a month, no strings attached. A deal so good, some thought something, blah, blah, blah. They have been trialing universal basic income for years so they can know how much they have to give you and what they can give you to shut the hell up and obey and comply. Like how the police say, you need to comply. Well, that's what they want, complete control. Reliance on UBI keeps you right where they want you, and that's not becoming financially free and remaining a wage slave. I've been talking about it for years, y'all. It's not new. And I'm not going to waste your time going through each one of these articles. You guys see how I did it. I just went in here in the search, typed UBI, or you can type the whole word out, Universal Basic Income, and it will bring up every instance that I've posted about UBI in this group. Universal Basic Income, first fully automated McDonald's. They're getting rid of your jobs, whether it's fast food, whether it's factory work, whether it's teaching. They got AI teachers now. I think I posted something in here about AI teachers at one point. But either way, y'all can find this stuff in there. This is all about their control. All right, so let's go back to my wife's profile because that's what I had queued up here. And we're going to talk about the other part of their control. So we just mentioned the Great Reset. That's been planned by the global elite. And I just want to show you real quick what I mean by the global elite is there's an image that I drop into the group occasionally. I don't want to lose my spot here, so I'm going back up there and I'm pulling this other window up. And we are going to find it in here because I think I just recently posted it in here. So we're going to close that, open it back up, and look at the media files. And there it is, yep, right here at the top. So let's just download this image because I can zoom in once it's downloaded. And you heard me mention a couple of organizations. Now, when you hear people talk about the Illuminati, it's always associated with devils and satanic and all that kind of stuff. And there may be some elements of that in there. But what it really is about is power and capitalism. On the left over here, you have the US, and on the right, you have the UK. When you zoom in, you have the World Bank right here at the center of everything. You have the International Monetary Fund, which is the IMF. Hold on, let me move my mouse over here. Right here at the center of things, you have the WHO, the World Health Organization, who's at the center of everything. UNESCO. So just take your time and find this image and look at it to see who the power brokers truly are. Because it's not your Democrat president, it's not your Republican president. Of course, in the United States, they were all members of Skull and Bones, including Barack Obama. They went to Yale. They were all members of this. And that's how they're able to get into such powerful positions. You won't have just average Joe Schmo getting there. Even Trump couldn't get there without having had associations with this stuff. All right. And then you have these smaller organizations like the CIA, the KGB. They're used to control stuff and move stuff around. House of Rockefeller, these are the big families. The United Nations, the Atlantic Council, the Bilderbergs, the Council of 13. So you have all of these groups on the left side. And then way down here at the bottom, if you notice, how do they indoctrinate you? National Student Association, the colleges. That's where they start tapping future potential people that are in there. And you notice socialism, that's communist crap over there. Socialist Workers Party, Young Socialist Society. So, and Socialist Party USA. That's what Zoran Mondami and AOC and these type of people are down here at the bottom of this, coming through these organizations to influence and move policy and everything around the countries. These are the people who control the world and make financial decisions, medical decisions, all that kind of stuff for everybody. This is what is commonly referred to as the Illuminati. It's not some fanciful fake thing. It's all of these organizations. And at the center of all of this, the United States Federal Reserve. We are the superpower for a reason, y'all. And we're at the center of all of this conspiracy stuff that is not a true conspiracy. It's real. I just wanted y'all to see that this stuff is real. All right. So let me close that window. Go back here. All right. And let's cue back up my wife's profile because we had the next part of how they control you. So like I just showed you, they have the Great Reset that was planned by all those organizations that I just showed you, the big ones in the middle and toward the top. And then they control you with the next part, which is this social credit system. Social credit is truly, truly evil because it's basically whatever they think that you shouldn't be doing socially. And it is in full implementation in China. And your social credit score is just like your regular credit score out here in the real world, except you don't know where it is. And the only way you can keep it high is to do exactly what you're told to do when you're told to do it. And if you don't, your social credit score can go down. If you're not green energy compliant, different stuff, your social credit score can go down. Why is that important? Well, it's not so important right now, especially here in America, because we got American freedoms that we're slowly moving away from, especially in certain cities that are democratically run. You'll see that you can't speak the way you want to. You get censored. You get canceled, lose jobs based on stuff that you say or do online, when you're supposed to have freedom of speech here in America. But the social credit system can kill your career and make you a wage slave or a debt slave or basically the human poor. So let's just look at how they're using social credit systems over in China. And the reason that it's important to know this is because these social credit systems are going to be tied to the 15-minute cities. And I'll tell you about those in just a second. So let's take a listen to
Today,
social credit systems. All right.
we're talking about China's social credit system, or as I like to call it, the government's way of treating its citizens like dogs. Let me tell you, folks, this is some next-level Big Brother shit. The Chinese government wants to keep track of every little thing you do, from how much money you owe to whether or not you're a good little communist. It's like credit rating on steroids.
Now, it's not just the Chinese government. The United States government is already implementing a lot of these things. Remember when the IRS posted rules at the end of Biden's term or toward the end of Biden's term, where every transaction over $600 needs to be reported to the IRS. Now, Trump just got rid of that, but remember, a Democrat was in office and proposed that and put it in place where they were tracking you just like the Chinese. All right.
The Chinese government wants to keep track of every little thing you do, from how much money you owe to whether or not you're a good little communist. It's like credit rating on steroids, but instead of just regulating finance, they're regulating morality. And let's face it, folks, the Chinese government doesn't have the best track record when it comes to human rights. But wait, there's more. This social credit system isn't just a way to keep tabs on people, it's also a way to incentivize good behavior.
Incentivize good behavior is just a nice way of saying control you.
That's right, if you're a good little drone who follows the government's every command, you might get some rewards. Maybe a pat on the head, or a treat if you're lucky. Of course, there's a catch. The system is voluntary for individuals, but government employees are basically forced to participate. So if you're a government worker, congratulations, you're a lab rat in China's little social experiment. But wait, there's still more. The government has even repurposed the social credit system to address public health during the COVID-19 pandemic. Because nothing says public health like treating your citizens like cattle. So, what's my final take on this, you ask? Well, it's simple. China's social credit system is a patchwork of policies and regulations aimed at testing the boundaries of behavioral manipulation. And while it might seem like a good idea in theory, the reality is that it's just another way for the government to keep its citizens under control.
Testing the boundaries of manipulation of your behavior. Does that sound familiar? Oh, you need to wear a mask. Oh, you don't need to wear a mask. Oh, you need to double mask and wear 2 masks. Oh, no masks are required anymore. Oh, you better get that jab. In fact, we're going to give a vaccine passport and you can't travel unless you get that jab. Oh, not only do you have to get the jab, even though we said that the jab should make you safe, now you need to get a booster. And if you don't get the booster, then you can't be employed. And if you can't be employed, guess what that makes you? Poor, because you can't keep a job. The government manipulating you in the United States has already been happening for years, and it got on steroids in COVID. So they can talk all this shit that they want to about China, but it's already happening here. And it would have been accelerated if a Democrat had got elected, because they were going to continue the controls that they have in place, and a lot of that stuff has been stopped under this administration here. This stuff goes across both aisles. It doesn't make the Republicans right; it just makes them right for this time. But they want control too, same way the Democrats do. They're controlling certain things as well, and we won't get into political stuff because this is all about finance for me. But right now, Trump was the necessary evil to bring about this new financial system, and we got blessed to figure it out in time enough to be invested early in the assets that are going to run the new financial system. But let's just continue watching the last little bit about how China is controlling, and then insert USA into any of that stuff.
So, that's all for today, folks. If you enjoyed this podcast, share it with your friends and enemies alike.
Well, that was the end of that video. So let's just close that and move on to the next one. Here we go. This is going to talk about the 15-minute
residential area.
Now, there are 15-minute cities already in the United States. They're not calling them that. They're not calling them that because they know there's a negative connotation to it. But this is authoritarian control to the max. So just watch it. It's already happening in China. It's happening in some places in the UK and in the United States as well. And you can Google this stuff. Everything I'm telling you, you can vet for your own self. And the reason I'm telling you all of this as part of the rapid response video prior to us talking about crypto is because you need to know why the certain cryptos that we're talking about in this group are essential to your future of generational wealth and freedom. Freedom. Oh, freedom over wealth. Period. It's just this freedom is going to come along with some wealth. You're going to escape wage slavery and debt slavery by participating in freedom.
Dotted with surveillance cameras. All over Urumqi, facial recognition software is embedded into building entrances, and the information is sent to the police. So the state always knows who's coming and going.
Suddenly, no one was allowed to visit us, only very close relatives. We had to get their visit approved with date, time and a reason.
She lived in this residential area, dotted with surveillance cameras. All over Urumqi, facial recognition software is embedded into building entrances, and the information is sent to the police. So the state always knows who's coming and going.
Suddenly, no one was allowed to visit us, only very close relatives. We had to get their visit approved with date, time and a reason.
I'll let that play twice because I just want you to hear it. Because does that not sound familiar? Now, everybody's not of the same status, but I've lived in a gated community before. And we've had to let people know, hey, we got this person coming to visit, you can let them in. They're already been preparing you for that lifestyle. Not everybody, but they've been preparing America for it by introducing it a little bit at a time here and there. If you live in an apartment building, I can guarantee you that some of these apartment buildings in nice areas are locked and you got to show your face, or a guard has to let you in, or you have to have a badge to get through the door. All of these things are already in place. All they got to do is flip a switch one day and say, this is how everybody got to act. So the 15-minute cities are a concept that they created, and they try to make it sound nice, saying, oh, your stores and gas stations and blah, 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 everything will be close by within a 15-minute walk. But that also means the diseases, the crime, and everything else will be that much closer to you too. And how are they getting people to go to these 15-minute cities? Well, weather manipulation. If you don't believe that's a thing, I've posted that in the group. Posted patents where they can learn how to steer storms, fires that mysteriously just appear out of nowhere and burn people out of their homes, and then the permitting process to rebuild is so arduous that it makes it almost impossible to rebuild. And so what do? Well, if you got the means, you just move someplace else and buy you a nice house someplace else. But if you're in an area where you don't have those type of means, guess what? They make a housing affordable in these 15-minute cities. And they're not calling them that right now. They make it housing affordable there so that they can force you guys to congregate and move near each other. The fires that just happened in California, where everybody got burnt out, well, the elite and the rich are moving to other elite rich houses, but they can't even rebuild in those areas. And everybody else is having to move to where they can find housing at, because the housing market is crashing right now too. It's in a bubble and about to crash along with the rest of the economy and everything else. So 15-minute cities are a real thing, and they're going to control you with the 15-minute cities. When you lose your job, they're going to have a universal basic income sitting there waiting for you to try to shut you up and to have nothing and be happy. You heard it yourself. Your own world, your own word, their own words. Now, the China model for 15-minute cities will be easily accepted here. My wife once thought she wanted this, not knowing it's a dystopian method of taking complete control. So that's where I'm going to stop right there on the introduction, because we are right at about an hour. I just wanted to do a rapid response video to let you guys know why you need these 15-minute cities. And then we're going to go do 3 more videos, one on each coin. Now, just to give you a teaser, I'm going to play this video for you right here. Because the reason why you and everybody you know is a wage slave right now and a debt slave right now, and will likely remain that way unless you act with some sort of urgent sense of urgency and haste, is because we just don't be giving a shit what's going on around us. We want stuff spoon-fed to us, and it whoever has the spoon is controlling what you eating and digesting. So if you're not getting good material, it's garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. So I'm trying to put some good stuff in there to let you know why things are happening, why your family line is not already rich. My family line is not rich. I got people that are wealthy in my family, but they got there through athletics or some other thing. Tony Dungy is our cousin. We got family members in this group who were part of Motown. Their family is Motown family. I don't know if she wants to be identified. I think most of y'all know in there, but this the DeBarge family is in this group. I used to sing them songs back when I was a kid. They got some money back then. Have they been able to keep it? I don't know. I won't talk about people's finances and stuff. You can easily Google some of that stuff for yourself. But unless you are already independently wealthy, then you are already a victim. You're already a wage slave and you're already a debt slave. And it's because we just don't be knowing shit. We don't be knowing what's going on, why it's going on, and why. Think about this. Every last one of you in this group probably has a debit card right now. Think about it. And some of you might have been blessed enough to be able to get credit and have a credit card or 2 or 10 or more. We got a bunch of them. We got the privilege of creating more debt to remain debt slaves. I've been leveraging mine, though, to add to my bags here. I will cash advance or do whatever I need to do to get some of their fiat money to buy more of what we need right now because I can pay that debt off later easily. But back in the day when credit cards first came out, and you're going to hear it here firsthand, this is the first time this video is getting played in this group. I tell this story. I've never played the video of people talking about when credit cards first came out, not wanting people in New York to have to approve their transactions. They wouldn't, when I want a Big Mac, I want it now. They didn't give two shits about the technology that was coming out that is allowing this to happen. They focused on consuming, literally, Big Macs. But that's the attitude of most people around the world is some new technology comes out and you either adopt it or you don't adopt it. But if it's good technology, you adopt the technology and you remain a consumer and a wage and a debt slave. How many of y'all relatives made money off of credit cards when they first came out? As opposed to using the credit cards and creating debt. Because there were people who made money off of the technology. Remember back in the day, if you're brand new in this group, and I know some of you might be too young to remember this, that are looking at this, but you can Google it for yourself. They had a big ass metal block. Let me see if I got it queued up here. I might have the name of the block queued up. If I do, I did a good thing. Let's see. Let's see if I got it queued up here. I'm not sure. Let's see. Nope, I don't have it queued up. But the block had a name. And basically what you would do is you would put your card on this block and they would put a piece of carbon paper over the top of it. And then they would swipe across the top to create you a carbon receipt. Okay? That's how they used to do credit cards back in the day. And none of our people made money off of that technology. It was crude technology, but somebody made money off of it. Somebody created it, somebody invested in it, and they made a killing because it's being used all over the world back then for credit card transactions that were brand new that nobody liked at first. Now you can't get rid of them. It's all throughout society. And then one day you wake up, you get a letter in the mail, and all of a sudden you don't have that flimsy little card anymore. You got a plastic card. Somebody made money off of that. Because credit cards used to be like a hard cardboard back in the day. Now they turn out they plastic. Now they got the new plastic cards and everybody's like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. That's cool. It's more durable. It won't tear up on me. Somebody made money off of that. Did you or your family? Answer is no. I can answer every last one of these questions as an unequivocal no if you're in this group and I know you. Then one day you wake up and you got a new card in the mail and there's a magnetic strip on the top of the card. Now they don't have to call New York to approve your transaction. All you got to do is swipe your card and the computers will approve it automatically. Somebody made a killing on that because that lasted a long ass time. But did you? Nope, you just liked the convenience. And your family just liked the convenience of getting your transaction done faster. And more places to use it at now. Because now they got terminals everywhere. Did we make money off of them terminals? Nope. Then you wake up one day and they send you a new card in the mail and the card got a chip in it now. And so now you can stick your card in there, supposedly safer, less chance of it being hacked, more secure transaction, and faster again. Did we make money off of that technology? Nope, but it was created during your lifetime. And you did not make money off of it. Lots of things we don't make money off because we don't know shit. They keep us blinded by Diddy and Beyonce and the housewives and all kind of other goofy shit that is nice for entertainment, but we live for that shit and we don't learn nothing. about the world around us, geopolitical stuff that affects your everyday life. I've just told you about carbon credits. No, I didn't tell you about carbon credits. I told you about social credit scores. Carbon credits is another one that it's a horror thing. You'll see it and look at the first the second um video that I did, the educational video. I'll talk about the carbon credits about halfway through there, so close to halfway through, where you won't be able to use them. You'll just have to sell them to the elite. And they'll use them and they'll be able to travel, but you won't be able to because you will be forced to work because you're a wage slave. You won't be able to afford to take a vacation because you have so much debt. You're a debt slave. You take a vacation now, you lose time off of work. That means you're losing money. I know some of y'all are federal employees and you still get paid while you're on vacation and stuff, but I'm talking about average Joe Schmo. So yeah, so you woke up and there's a chip in there, and then you wake up and you still remain a consumer, and they got your Apple Pay and your Google Pay. They make everything convenient for you to remain a wage slave and a debt slave, but they are not teaching you nothing. And listen to the people, listen to yourself, because this is you. Even though you might not have been born back then, or you might not have a clue, this is you right now too. Because the new technology is here and it's out and you don't even know about it. You're just going to benefit from instantaneous payments one day and not even know that that shit happened July 14th, 2025, right underneath your nose. You woke up on July 15th and remained a wage slave and a debt slave. You did not obtain financial freedom because you have not bought these assets. They're hiding them right in plain sight. They make it difficult for you to get them, but if you put enough work in, you can figure it out. And I've been helping y'all figure it out for 2 years now, over 2 years. So listen to this video.
Cash or credit? What? The home of the Whopper is offering cash or credit.
I think it's pretty bad if you have to use a credit card when you go to a fast food restaurant for something as little as $3.10.
If I use my GM card, I get a 5% rebate. If I eat here long enough, I'll be able to buy a pickup truck.
Burger King bought.
You see how delusional that man is? If he eats there long enough, if I continue to keep consuming and I'm making my little percentage rebate, I might be able to buy a pickup truck using my GMC card. You know how long he would have to eat there? Based on that rebate, I looked it up. He'd have to eat there for 100 and something years. He had no clue what the hell he was talking about. All he could dream of is, I'm going to get some little reward for spending and creating more debt. And I might be able to buy a pickup truck that's going to lose value the minute I drive it off of the lot. No financial sense of awareness whatsoever. This is all of us right now. None of you have a clue what is going on right underneath your nose. And in the next videos, the next rapid response videos, you're going to learn about what has developed right under your nose, and it's so phenomenal, the opportunity. If I were you guys, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just providing my services to you for entertainment and educational purposes only, and hopefully you know what the hell I'm saying. But if it was me listening to this for the first time and somebody showed me what type of situation that I'm in that I didn't even know I was in, and that there's a way out, I would be wanting the way out before I saw the very next video. You can continue teaching me later. Just show me how to get in before it's too late, because time is running out. You're on the tail end of it. We've been stacking our coins for 2 years now. 2 years, to the point where I am confident that literally everyone who has invested in this group should become a multimillionaire at some point over the next several years. And it'll be growing up until then too. It won't just be like, oh, I gotta wait until then. No, you'll see it growing. I'm up 5,000 something percent right now. Let me just, I vet everything that I say. I don't want to lie to anybody. I just want you to see for yourself. In the tokens that I am in, I'm just going to hit refresh on this screen here. On my, well, I didn't drop down to 4,600 something. The market's had a significant pullback. That's okay. That happens. But I'm still up 4,000 something percent, 200%, 100 something percent. So here we have the people in the group. And at some point before this pullback, we had pretty much everybody in this group, except for the people who came in late. We had some people who came in a little late, so they're still not all the way up. They were up 15%, but the majority in this group were up 200% or more. We got somebody that was up 900% here. Let me just make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. And then I got to scroll over a little bit. So on this stronghold token, we got somebody who was up 500, 200, 225, 180%, 180. So as you know, 100% investment, return on investment is just basically doubling your money. 300% is tripling it. So that's a 3x. So yeah, so the later you get in this cycle, the more money it's going to take you to get the same number of tokens as everybody else. So you might not get as many tokens as everybody else. My auntie and uncle got in a little bit later than they would have liked to, but they are still in. And even what they have, and my young niece, your sister, if this is one of you guys that's listening, is going to end up being a multi-millionaire with the assets that they hold by 2030. She's young enough that if she holds these until then and don't spend, and I teach strategies in this group about creating a trust, getting loans against your assets as opposed to selling them, because you create capital gains taxes. And if you don't hold the assets for at least a year, it's a short-term capital gain. So you got almost a 50% tax bill that you're going to have if you sell them. And holding them over a year is still going to be 25 to 30% capital gains tax. So what the elite and the wealthy do is they borrow against their assets. Once they hit a certain level of monetary value, the banks will want you to park your assets with them so they can give you a loan. And then you use that loan to invest in other stuff and create more passive income. And none of that is taxable. A loan is not taxable. In fact, a loan will let you take the interest that you pay back on that loan and get a tax deduction. This is how the wealthy and the elite live, y'all. They have good debt. They don't have consumer-oriented debt where they just paying stuff and not making money. You can create passive income streams, and I talk about that in the group consistently. But the purpose of this rapid response video is not for that. It's to give you the sense of urgency that you need to be involved right now to avoid wage slavery and debt slavery, because that's what you're in, and it's only about to get worse for everybody. So let's finish looking at this video. I'm gonna rewind just a little bit back here so that you understand the depth of where you're at right now with your understanding. You're like these people from 1993.
Cash or credit? What? The home of the Whopper is offering cash or credit.
I think it's pretty bad if you have to use a credit card when you go to a fast food restaurant for something as little as $3.10.
If I use my GM card, I get a 5% rebate. If I eat here long enough, I'll be able to buy a pickup truck.
Burger King bosses say workers won't have to figure out how much change the customer gets back.
I just hope it doesn't slow things down at the cash and carry, that people are going to be having to call New York and get.
Did you hear what he said right there? He's worried about it being slow because somebody might have to call New York to get his transaction approved. I can guarantee you he didn't make money off of this technology, because listen to what he says next.
Slow things down at the cash and carry, that people are going to be having to call New York and get the confirmation, or whatever it is, because when I want a Whopper, I want it now.
Just another way to spend.
Consumer-oriented attitude. Not that, oh, what's this technology that's allowing me to do this stuff instantaneously or with some verification and offer me credit, but When I consume something, I want to consume it right now. I don't want to have to wait on somebody. I want to get to getting that debt underneath my belt. That's y'all. That's y'all right now. I'm sorry to say it. That was me too at one point.
Get the confirmation or whatever it is, because when I want a Whopper, I want it now.
Just another way to spend money. I'm sure it'll work for people on vacation when they don't have to do something, but I can't imagine it working on a day-to-day basis here.
So far,
He can't imagine a credit card working on a day-to-day basis. Look in your wallets and your purses right now, y'all. Look at your last grocery bill. Look at your last purchases for your house or your last vacation or whatever you're using it. But are we using credit cards on a day-to-day basis like a mug right now? Yes, we are. But they could not see it. They hid it from them. They put something attractive in front of them to confuse them, to continue becoming or remaining wage slaves and debt slaves.
Vacation when they don't have to do something, but I can't imagine it working on a day-to-day basis here.
so far, the smallest credit has been for $2.50. The largest, just over 10. Jamie Costello, News Channel 2.
The largest purchase, just over $10. I don't know, that would probably be the smallest in today's society, y'all. So this was the first rapid response video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. The next 3 rapid response videos, we are going to go over the 3 assets that I have believed that I was led by the Holy Spirit to reveal to y'all over 2 years ago. And that's Stronghold token, that's Velo token, and that's XDC. They are integral, essential parts of the new financial system. There is no way we are losing and being left behind if we are in these 3 assets right here. There are other ones out there. And I don't crap on none of the other ISO tokens. I say this in the group all the time, a lot of the times, underneath my posts. I say the future is now. If you've obtained any of the ISO 222 tokens, any of them, you are the new 1%. God is good. True financial freedom equals Velo, which is one of our tokens, XDC, which is the other one, and SHX, which is the third one. XRP, XLM, IOTA, Quant, HBAR, Algo, and Link. The crypto world affectionately calls those tokens the Army of X. They are the new global quantum financial system that you have never heard of prior to this video. We were early. I used to say we are still early, right up here. I used to say we are still early. We not still early. Y'all are still earlier. If you're listening to this video right now, you most likely are still earlier than most of the rest of the world, and I'll show you that in a minute. But you're not as early as you could have been. And the reason why is because literally a month ago, we've gone up 300%. If you got in a month ago, you're enjoying some significant gains as of today, but we're starting to move up. So we were early, but our targets are still much, much, much higher. So you're still going to be able to create generational wealth, not as much as you would have been able to if you were early. Like I said up here, I got it even crossed out. We are still early. I crossed it out up there. I changed the whole slogan to we were early. We escaped wage slavery. I used to say there is still freedom out there for us, and I changed that whole thing to we escaped wage slavery, because if you hold these assets, it's your ticket out. It's your freedom papers. And we snatched our freedom from the elite, because that's who's holding them. If you haven't done so yet, tick tock, you're running out of clock. Go get it. That's what I say, y'all. That's what I mean. I just got one last thing to show you because I want you to see that even though it may not feel like you're early, you think you're being left behind because, for whatever reason. Let me just see where I have it at. Maybe I downloaded it. So let's go to the download folder and see if yeah, it's a recent download. Good, because I can zoom in. I want to be able to zoom in to show you this. Now, in this zoomed out version, it's hard to make sense of this because the writing may look small depending on what device you're on. But these black dots represent everybody in the world, okay? So let's just zoom in so you can see. All these black dots represent everybody in the world. And then this right here, the blue shade out of everybody in the world, you see how far down that goes. So relative to everyone in the world, this blue shaded area are just people who've heard of crypto. A lot of people in the world have never even heard of crypto. They might have heard the term, they don't know what it is, they don't have a clue. But this blue are people who have heard of crypto. Now, they may have a negative, positive opinion, whatever the opinion may be, but these are the people out of the entire world of 8-something billion people have heard of crypto. Now, out of those people, which is a small fraction of the 8-something billion people, this dark green, people who own any kind of crypto. That's this area represented that does this little L shape right around on that first row. People who own crypto. First couple of rows there. People who own crypto. That means any kind of crypto. The shit coins, the good coins, the meme coins, the Doge coins. That's any crypto in existence. There's people who own all of that shit. Okay? Now, this puke green color, this little yellowish green color, I call it puke throw up green. That's represented by this little three, 1, 2, 3 dots. That's at a diagonal right here. That's represented by the 3 dots. That are people who have heard of the token XRP. And we'll get into that later. But XRP is the granddaddy. It's what I believe the elite use to push their agenda forward by pushing it through the court system. We'll talk about that when we're on the Zoom call. All right. But this is people who've heard of XRP out of the people who own crypto. Not everybody who heard of XRP, not everybody who owns crypto has heard of XRP. But there are those of us who heard of XRP, and then there are people in that little subset who own XRP, which is this dark crimson red, my Alabama Crimson Tide. That's represented by these 2 red dots right here. Out of all the billions of people in the world, there's even a smaller percentage of people who own XRP. And then if you zoom in even further, you notice there's a pink dot in the corner all by itself. And that pink dot is people who own more than 25,000 XRP tokens. These are your future millionaires and billionaires when they own that much, because they've been sitting in this market for 6 years waiting for it to happen for them. Those are some dedicated people, and XRP is the granddaddy of the new financial system. It is going to rule the roost. Bitcoin will not rule the roost, y'all, and that's a conversation we'll get into. But then you go down to the little blue dot inside of the pink. And the blue dot that's inside the pink, you see it there. And now you can add our other 2 tokens along with that blue dot, same size, is the people who own Stronghold token, Velo token, or XDC. Highly unknown projects that are integral backbones to the new financial system. As I zoom out, just realize where you are in relation to everybody else in the world. Just realize that when I say to you that you are the new 1%, just picture that graphical image in your head. I just showed you that you are the new 1% just by even owning any of these assets. You don't have to have the biggest bag. You don't. You really don't. You just have to have a nice little amount of them. I'll go back to this. Everybody on this list will be a multimillionaire. And God willing, God will have used me as a vessel to create 2 decamillionaires in this group, not including myself. I believe that will be, actually it'll be 3 if they hold on and do right, if they do what's right. I believe that'll be David, Davian, and Tommy. By 2030, I really truly believe that all 3 of them will be decamillionaires, meaning their net worth will be over $10 million. Easy to do when you're holding the right assets, because look at when we go back to where mine is, I got in way early enough to where, let me just zoom out just a hair here so you can see it all on the screen at once. So you see we got the AI analysis showing Q3 2025 to Q3 2026. Well, that's a 1-year period. What we think the price is going to go to during all of these different ranges. So short range, mid range, long range, best case. I did that for each one of these 2 tokens here, XDC and Velo. All right. So with mine, when you look at long range, best case scenario, my Velo tokens, my XDC tokens could be worth $80 million by 2030. That's just 5 years from now. It's not like I'm gonna be waiting for that. It'll get to these amounts as it's going up within these ranges. And these are conservative ranges. I told AI I wanted conservative estimates. Nothing over bullish. Bullish, you would have to know the terms. With Velo, same thing. Short, mid, and long range. My Velo tokens, long range best case scenario, I told y'all a year ago, as I learned more and more about Velo, when we get ready to start talking about that token, that I believe that my portfolio could reach over $1 billion. I hadn't dreamed of that. I dreamed of it making into the hundreds of millions, but as I learned more and the pieces start coming together, that's where everything started leading to. And then with Stronghold. Stronghold, I don't have that one mapped out here because it is my baby, and it would make me insane to even see the numbers, because Stronghold is going to do this by next year. $3.30 easily. It may hit $1 this year. If it hits $1 this year, if Stronghold hits $1 this year, just that one token alone will be worth $5 million in my portfolio. But Stronghold is going to probably do this by next year. And then as it gets widely adopted by 2030 globally, there's talk of possibly even it doing this, $10 per token. And there will be people in 2030 who look at that as a good investment in their Robinhood app or something like that, and they will invest $100 and get 10 Stronghold tokens. And then they'll make, a 10 or 15% gain, and their portfolios will be looking nice because they made a little bit of money. But generational wealth will not be created anymore after the banks get control of their assets that they're going to be moving forward with in this new global quantum financial system. So unfortunately, none of y'all hold as many tokens as I do, but you hold enough that if Stronghold hits $10, and I'm just going to drag it down here so you can see what happens to people in this group when Stronghold is widely adopted by 2030. We got 2 millionaires, 3 millionaires just with one token, one asset right there. That's at $10. With Velo, if Velo, and Stronghold's going to definitely do more than $10. It's going to eventually do these same type of numbers as Velo. Velo and Stronghold are similar type tokens. Stronghold could literally go up to 50-something dollars by 2030. I just try to stay conservative. If it did $50, okay, let's just put it in there. If we get mass adoption and it gets a significant portion of ACH stuff happening here in the United States, which it is a NACHA preferred partner, so it's highly likely. I just don't like to bet like that. I just like to take the most conservative, lowest view possible. But you're talking about if Stronghold hits $50, y'all, multimillionaire status, as long as you operate the right way and don't sell and borrow against these assets. Just in this one token, you're talking multimillionaire status amongst many of you in this group. And then Velo, same thing. Let Velo, let's just take the mid range, which is the top of the mid range is $59. So we're around that to 60. All right. If Velo hits $60, that token, when you start adding my nieces up with her other portfolio, she becomes a multimillionaire with all three that she holds. If she follows the stuff that we do in this group and hold these assets. Well, I meant to drag this one down, $60. Let's drag it down and see what that does for everybody. Boom. You got one of y'all hitting 8.9 million, million for a couple of other ones, 2 million, 1.9 million. So again, this seems like it's impossible, don't it? It really seems impossible. It seems implausible. XDC, the same way. Let's just take the mid-range, the top of the mid-range at $39. Let's just drag that. And for those of you who think that it's impossible, I'm going to show you that it's already happened. As soon as I finish dragging this down real quick and just show you what it looks like. Again, all of these added up with each other. So if you hold one and you hold the other one and you hold the third one, when they all add up, everybody in here becomes a multimillionaire by 2030. Everybody. Because the mid-range is just 2026, 2027. I'm saying by 2030, just giving us those couple of extra years because stuff happens, you know, you may have to take some money out or any kind of number of things could happen. The market can do something weird. So I gave us them extra couple of years, but by the end of 2027, we should be realizing a lot of these gains because of global mass adoption. So let me just show you that it has happened before. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to believe your own eyes. For those of you who don't think that it can happen, think that we are dreaming big. We're not even dreaming big. We're being very conservative here, y'all. We are being extremely conservative. So let me go ahead and pull up the group again. Remember, you can always go in the group, type in search. And because I know this is an anchor post, I'm just going to type the word Neo. All right. And that'll take me to this post here. All right. So I want to show you, if anybody tells you that the predicted percentage gains for Stronghold, XDC, or Velo are impossible and it will never happen, I can show you a dozen projects that have done it in prior bull markets. But look at this XRP chart, which is what I told you is the granddaddy moving forward, that the elite are all involved in. And understand that now we are primed to do it under much better market conditions because now we got regulations than Ripple had in 2017. You just show them this Ripple chart and tell them to watch your smoke over the next year. Boom. We're primed for liftoff and it is imminent. SHX, XDC, and Velo are shooting past the moon and going to Mars. So now look at what this chart says. In 2017, XRP moved 56,697% within 334 days. Yes, it is possible to become insanely wealthy. This is a monthly chart. You can see that up here at the top with the M selected. Each candle is worth 1 month, and these measurements show from here in February of 2017 over here till the very next year when it topped out up here in February of 2018, the Ripple XRP token moved 62,000 607% before it pulled back to 56,000% on when it started to pull back. That's when you would know that you need to either get into stable coins or borrow some money or whatever so that you can buy these dips as it was happening. But either way, it moved this. $1,000 invested. This was only a 9-month period, y'all. $1,000 invested here turned into 1 point something million up here just less than a year later. That's the Stronghold token is modeled after Ripple. And we'll get into that when we talk about Stronghold in the next, I'll do that one first, the next rapid response video. But Stronghold is going to do a Ripple move because it's designed like Ripple and by the people from Ripple. All right. And that's one token. I'm just going to show you a second one just for prosperity's sake. This token here, NEO, the blockchain considered to be the Chinese version of Ethereum, which is the #2 cryptocurrency in the world as of right now. Ethereum is. But back then, NEO was considered to be the Chinese version of Ethereum that nobody knew about. From February 1st, 2017 to January 1st, 2018, that's 11 months, NEO went on an epic 226,041% parabolic run. Let me repeat that. It more than tripled what Ripple did. And people became billionaires, multimillionaires, hundreds of millions with Ripple. And if you have been blessed enough to have gotten into NEO at any point and stayed with it for that year, you're rich now too, but that ain't us. To put that into perspective, if you invested $1,000 on February 1st, on January 1st, February 1st, 2017, on January 1st, 2018, you became a multimillionaire with $2.261 million from just $1,000. Don't tell me this shit cannot happen. It's already happened. I was involved in a token that if I would have been smart enough to stay in it, I wouldn't be having these conversations with y'all right now because I would have already been rich. I got out of it at 800% gains. But I've learned since then. I was very green and not knowing a whole lot back then. So let me finish reading. NEO is still around and is not even mentioned in the same breath of the projects that are currently part of the new global quantum financial system. The market was not mature in 2017 and there were no regulations. What do you think will happen when banks and major institutions as well as governments can now deploy capital in the trillions and quadrillions that they were not allowed to do before? Just like winter is coming, regulations is coming, and it brings the market makers with it. They won't be investing in NEO, your influencer's favorite coin, or your favorite meme coin. They will invest in and control the rails of the new financial system, and the parabolic run to the upside will be unlike anything witnessed in history because it's never happened in history before. We are just now getting these regulations that are allowing the banks to get in here, and this is a brand new financial system that will run all the wealth and value in the world. They do not want you in it, so be prepared for and ignore when maximum pain hits. I talk about that in the group frequently. They want to shake you out. On the other side of that incident, whenever that happens, is generational wealth. I firmly believe this is the last such opportunity in your lifetime and your kids' lifetime. I've been saying you're still early for over 2 years. Tick tock, you're running out of clock. This will be either the new elite 1% that you become. You will either be the new elite or the new 1%, or you will remain trapped as a wage slave or a debt slave. The future is set in stone by the elite, but for us, the future is ours. And as I always say in this group, the future is now. You got to grab it now. If you've obtained any ISO 222 token, you are the new 1%. Remember those dots on that image. God is good. True financial freedom equals Velo, XDC, SHX. XRP, XLM, IOTA, Quant, HBAR, Algo, Link. Now, don't expect me to go teaching y'all about none of them other ones. The Holy Spirit led me to these three, and that's the ones that I can preach on. This is the new army of X, the new global quantum financial system. We were early. We escaped wage slavery and snatched our freedom from the elite. If you haven't done so yet, tick tock, tick tock. You're running out of clock. They're going to flip the switch at some point on you, and there will not be an opportunity anymore. So what you need to do right now is go get it. Let me show y'all Neo real quick. What Neo did, zoom in if you have to, 226,000% in 1 and 11 months from Chinese Ethereum-like tokens surrounding digitized payments. This is our field, y'all. Digitized payments, finance, identities, and assets from February 1st to January 1st. Neo was ahead of its time, and new assets will proceed where it left off under better conditions. That's all I got for y'all, family. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to stop recording. Y'all take it easy. This was rapid response number 1. Number 2, 3, and 4 are going to be coming when I get a chance to record them. And we're going to be talking in each one of those about one specific token each. We're going to start off with Stronghold, going to move into Velo, and going to end it with XDC. But in the meantime, use this video right here to motivate yourself into making the move that's going to change your families and your generations that come after you, change y'all lives. Y'all take it easy. I love y'all. Peace.